sometimes I can't remember stuff. Other times I black out.
That's yeah.
There are pieces that I hold from my memory that I was like, I said that. Okay, hang on. I have enough.
No, I feel that. Yeah.
Yeah, floor with all to remember. Whatever. Let's fucking do this. It's that dirty. Let's do this.
Okay.
Yay! Look at everybody. Woo!
Yay!
Hello,
Here in the tavern.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Tavern Talk. My name is GM Chavez. I am the narrator and host of Pristine Dreams, which is an actual play TTRPG online series that we host on this channel. And with me, of course, is my outstanding party that I play with. Starting from left to right, we have got Cypher. Say hello, Cypher, and tell us who you play.
Hello, my name is Cypher, and I play Nyx.
Hi, I'm Enda. I play Rinverhi, and he's the healer. We'll just say that.
Howdy, my name's Dusk. I play Bran.
And last but certainly not least, we've got Juno.
I'm Juno. Debatably, I play Kenopsia. Debatably, maybe. I don't know whose character sheet I'm looking at. This character sheet. I think
own your man.
I think this might be yours. And
oh my god! Am I supposed to be playing Kenopsia? I'm so sorry.
I think so I actually play Rinverhi and Enda plays Kenopsia.
Oh my god, that's so embarrassing. We did so many episodes on the wrong character.
Oh,
I thought that was just a
we're gonna have to reshoot
Beyond
the whole
thing.
series. No, we're gonna have to do everything all over again. No, it's fucking over.
Start from the top.
All right,
whatever,
we're gonna start over then. We'll get back. We'll be back in a minute.
Roll credits here. Yeah. All right.
All right. So we do have a little bit of a reboot going on in our session 4, though, as we have decided to kind of streamline our play by getting into 5e and using 5e exclusively. So that's kind of a big thing we put out at the beginning of session 4. Yay. Let's hear it for 5e. Woo.
Yay!
I know we had a lot of debate about which system to play. So we basically had people message us that were like, hey, we can't follow along with like what you guys are playing, because I was essentially homebrewing in some old advanced Dungeons and Dragons stories using like my knowledge of 3.5 rules, and our players were coming in with characters who were Pathfinder 2nd edition, and I was like, hey dude, that's fine, like I don't mind just Mod Podging it all together and homebrewing it, but since we decided to post a couple of these for fun, it has turned out that when our friends watch it and stuff, they're like, we don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. We don't understand your stats or whatever. So we thought it'd be easier to just pick one system and I'll convert everything into that so that when we're playing, everyone will check it out. And like I said, we talked pros and cons about all the different systems, but we ended up deciding on 5e for kind of no particular reason. It's just more so the fact that this was the one that seemed to acquiesce the easiest and check off all of our boxes there. So far, as the party goes, as the players, you guys having to work with it, what is your guys' take on playing in 5e, and how do you feel like it captures your guys' characters? Do you feel like they came through okay, or is there something lacking? What do you guys think?
I still need to get comfortable with learning how to play Kenopsia as a paladin. Because I had gotten very used to playing Kenopsia in the War Priest format. Like I got used to kind of like coding his character around that and building off of that. And it's not like I couldn't incorporate pieces of that into current Kenopsia, but the tone definitely feels different with how rules are structured in 5th edition. And also just there's a obviously there's a lot of differences comparatively to Pathfinder 2nd edition and D&D 5th edition. No shit. No shit about that. But I definitely need to get more accustomed with 5e. I like it, but I definitely feel like I've had to kind of reroute the way I play Kenopsia a couple times, and I'm still having to actively rewire some of the traits and things that I do with him, because that would be 2nd edition
Sure.
Kenopsia and not 5th edition Kenopsia, if that makes any sense. I don't know.
No, it totally does, because I noticed that too, that there's a couple of things you got to bend. There's a couple things you got to damn near break off just to kind of make stuff kind of work. But I love the fact we're a very role play forward kind of party too. And I feel like while it may mechanically change up things, I feel like the spirit of Kenopsia is really there, because that's so much your play, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
He's ugly. I like him a normal amount, so thank you guys. I really I really appreciate you guys saying that, so thank you.
Yeah, I think it's mainly just a mechanical adjustment going from cloistered cleric to divine sorcerer.
Mhm.
And there were reasons why I went divine sorcerer instead of just staying cleric, because if I went cleric as Rinverhi, it was completely different. Everything about him changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So divine sorcerer ended up being closer to how I played him as a cloistered cleric who, like, a big thing about him, he doesn't wear armor. And I don't plan on changing that about him. So like looking at cleric, it's like I had to put on some armor.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do that. So, and as a cloistered cleric in Pathfinder 2nd edition, he was like multiple ability dependent, but charisma was a big part of it. And so I wanted to keep being a charisma caster, and I didn't want to spread my stats out too much in 5e. So it made things a little easier on me to just be like, I mainly worry about my charisma, and then everything else I can put points into, like con or dexterity. That's just a fun bonus to help him survive. And he can be stupid, and he doesn't have to be wise.
Hey,
I love that stupid divine soul stupid bit. I love him.
I like that it's both stupid and unwise. Like, you usually try to get one, you're like, nah, he's charming.
No.
That's it.
Exactly. It's just because tuck it all the way in charisma. He just stands behind all his friends.
And he bats those big, beautiful, glowing eyes, like they're big, beautiful cow eyes. And everyone's charmed by him.
Look at his eyes. Look at how they sparkle. That's all he needs to
I
get
cannot
and praying.
I cannot help but be charmed. I have a disadvantage against saving throws. When very hard.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's okay, because he's not gonna do anything to hurt you. But
I mean, okay.
You say it like that.
Okay.
So, Cypher, how about you? How did you find the change from rogue to rogue? How did that go? Because clearly Kenopsia and Rinverhi had like almost complete class changes, but we're still able to kind of find their styles. But Bran and Nick stayed more in the wheelhouse of their original class. So how did that work out for you guys? Cypher?
Yeah, transferring from rogue to rogue was super easy. I don't have to think about it that hard at all, really. Everything is essentially the same. It doesn't change any core aspects of her character. So for Nyx and for me, it was an easy port. And, you know, I did have to change from she was an Ifrit, but I think she's in like a Genasi now.
Yes.
Yeah. So, honestly, there's the lore is very similar, so I didn't have any issues. So I have like no news. No notes.
Hey, no news is good news, right? But I will say that, yeah, like when it comes to races, when you kind of are jumping from one to the other that are similar like that, like the Genasi are, they're even, it's even mentioned that they're like descendants of Ifrit. So, you know, they're kind of in the same wheelhouse. So I think that works out really good. So yeah, I'm glad you're finding that real comfortable. And Dusk, what'd you think? Because I know you had some changes. You had a very specific ranger with the Monster Hunter Ranger in 2E. How did you feel like that translated over?
So at first I was like really like I was really worried that like the transition wouldn't be as smooth as it has been. Cause like my experience with 5e was like fighters and like one sork. Okay. I hadn't looked much at Ranger. And like the moment like I found Monster Slayer Ranger, I was like, oh yeah, that's it. Like the flavor fits, and it's I still keep my little marking ability, because like that's also a mechanic with Rangers from Pathfinder 2e. That I really like. I love having Bran just like say, okay, this one guy I'm going to fuck up until he's dead. As well as like getting like a little ability to like know the like strengths and weaknesses of a creature.
Yeah.
Like that is very his wheelhouse, and I'm very glad that it fits very well.
Well, good. All right. So it sounds like everyone's making a pretty good adjustment then. And again, I do appreciate you guys making that change to kind of benefit me. I know it benefits me the most as the GM, because rather than trying to coordinate rules between different systems, having just one that has a very simple set of rules, and that's not too in depth, was very helpful for me. So I appreciate that. You guys are the best. Thank you. Yay.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, you also did help us in like moving our characters over a bit, because for Rinverhi, Bran, and Kenopsia, we were all fetchling.
Yes.
in 2e, and like there wasn't really anything in a 5e that really fit. Like I did pick Drow at first for Rinverhi, because I'm just like, he just looks like one.
I won't be purple.
yeah. But then you made up like the dream skin that we could all become, and like different flavors of dream skin that suited what sort of fetchlings we used to be. So that helped, bring our characters over to this system.
For sure.
Thank you for that.
Oh, of course. Yeah, my pleasure. Anything to make the transition easier for you guys, because again, it was a big benefit to me. But also, like, if I could, I'll give you guys my impression of 5e. It's like being on the other side of the table where I'm GMing, especially in a virtual online game like this. You kind of want all the tricks that you can have in your bag, and things to make it more streamlined, because it is complex running a game, just trying to keep all that stuff in your head. You all know, I know you all DM other games as well, but for me, jumping into D&D Beyond and being able to make a homebrew class that I can share with you guys, and homebrew some of your guys' specialty items and the artifacts that you have, so that they can be incorporated into the story, but be mechanics that you can click on and bang, it rolls a roll for you, and you click another click and it tracks the charges for you, and you can reset your health and everything like that. And it all goes into a nice little fancy game log that we were using in like live in session, so it would update rolls and keep them like broadcasted for everyone. Like that's really cool. I really liked that. And they have an encounters beta that's on the site right now, where you can make an encounter, which I also found super handy. I know I showed Cypher this a little bit. I don't know if I showed the rest of you guys, but you can go through the whole database of like D&D monsters and then just add them to the encounter, tell it to roll its initiative, and then add you guys to the encounter because you're in the campaign. And then as I'm going along, just hit next turn. When I get to a monster or a bad guy, it'll show me their whole stat sheet with their attacks, their hits, everything like that. And then I just click, oh yeah, hit them with the spear, and it rolls the spear damage and it shows it in the game log. So I'm like, man, for convenience and like putting together some encounters that I really want to have mostly prefabricated, right? I really have to sing its praises. I really like that. I think it's been super good for that. I will knock the fact that they did just take away the ability to purchase like an individual thing.
They did do that.
It used to be like, oh, I want a gelatinous cube from like Frostmere or whatever. Like I could buy just that one thing for like $1.99. But now everything's like these huge books that you have to spend lots of money on. So that is definitely a huge negative. But if you're someone like me who's going to play in a bunch of games anyways, what's really cool is I can buy some of these books and then share them with my party so that you guys can see the contents of that book while you're in a campaign with me. So there are cons, there are pros, but I think it's a step in the right direction in terms of digital play, because it's not video gamey. It is very much like a pencil and paper game, just in a virtual format. So I do really like that.
Yeah, the automation and having everything like integrated and already prepared for digital play, all in one place. I can see how that is very, very helpful for you compared to how we were doing it before for Pathfinder 2nd edition, which I know can also be set up for like a very automated digital way to play, but you gotta get Foundry, and then you have to set up that Foundry.
Yes.
And yeah.
Time and money.
Yeah, exactly. So if you already had like D&D Beyond stuff ready, then yeah.
Yeah, and again, being able to access that library that's already online, you know, and then input those characters already, like coming from a background of playing IRL, where if I want to have a monster's stats, like I'll make myself a little cheat sheet where I'm copying and pasting them into like an Excel sheet so I can read through it real quick and be like, oh, this is how I want the monster to fight and what I want them to do. But it's a lot of that copying and pasting or flipping through the pages of a book. To me, this is so streamlined and easy for me to type the name of the type of creature I want, which I will say, another negative, their search engine is garbage, dude. I don't know what they're using, but like you can search the most obvious shit, like the name directly of a spell. You could be like Fireball and put it in there, and it'll like give you a list of stuff that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And it's so
really
weird.
hate searching stuff on D&D Beyond. I would just go to Google and just like find the D&D
It's
Beyond
so
link to
clunky.
Google. Yeah.
It is. It's faster and easier to just Google something, but they don't have as good as sites. Like Pathfinder had really good sites, like the
Archive of Nethys.
Yes, you know, and I think it's D20 RPG or something like that. I feel bad. I'm not gonna RSD. I think it's RSD.
SRD.
SRD, you got it. See, we got there. But we
work together. It's teamwork.
It's teamwork. It's the key to success. But those sites would pop up with what you needed right away. I will say, like, looking through monsters and like the encounter builder is like a little bit better, because they like, it does have like an alphabetical list you can just look through. But I don't know if you guys noticed, there's like 7,000 monsters. So if I don't know the name of it, it's so hard to find something comparable or that looks good. They just need to work on the search. It's trash. We'll leave it at that. I won't harp on it too much. But it's been fun, and it's been a neat new experience for me. So I think for me, I would recommend people checking it out. Maybe don't spend a ton of money on it first, because you do get some basic books that are free. But check it out and give it a shot if you want to play virtual. Are there any other suggestions you guys would put out for like alternative resources online? Obviously, Archives of Nethys, like we said, and the D20 SRD.
There's a D&D 5e wiki dot that's also like very easy, where you can like go through all of like the items, classes, as well as like backgrounds.
Nice.
Without having to like pay $50 for a book.
Yeah, that's another really good one.
Yeah. Oh, another pro that I will give it, which I don't think is a pro, and I think as soon as they find a way to fucking stop us from doing it, they're gonna do it. But you can totally like use the wiki to look up an item, and instead of buying it in the book, you just put it in your own homebrew and make the exact same thing. You know?
That's kind of, yeah, I did that
Information
for like
is
other
so free.
yeah, like in other games I've been on D&D and we don't have that particular item. I'm just like, I'll just make it myself and I'll put it in my own inventory.
Yeah. So
Because like you can't share homebrew like that. Like if you make a homebrew that uses like stuff in D&D, it's like you can't share it or publish it, but that's not a problem if you're just playing in a game with like your friends or whatever. You're just sharing it among your group because that's allowed.
yes.
And I really hope that doesn't change.
Yeah, I think it'll stick around. I hope it will, but we'll have to see because they can be crafty on the internet sometimes.
Very true.
But anyways, yes, check it out. I'm sure we'll have links in the description of different websites that we use, including the virtual tabletop. I like that we're using the Owlbear and other things like that. So feel free to check out the description for some resources there. But moving on to our actual adventure, we are super excited. What's Old is New kicked off this session where the first hour of play was basically our party now having finished their ordeal in the town of O'Dare. Dang, why didn't I make that a title of one of our previous videos? Ordeal of O'Dare. Probably because O'Dare. Probably because I can't say it. But
yeah, I feel like
tongue twister.
yeah, I feel like you did have that idea way early on, and you tried it. It's like, nope, that's terrible. I can't say it.
So, getting through with O'Dare, you guys have returned to the Awakened camp to meet back up with Madame Rava and, of course, Devlin Dominiani to hopefully finally get some answers about what our campaign is actually about. Now, much like our rule setting, our actual campaign has also taken some twists and turns where this, again, very much began as just a game for us to play as home and then has developed into us putting out sort of a publicated series that people can follow along and have fun with. So in that sense, we are transitioning now into a completely all original campaign, which working title's kind of just the Dreamscape, you know? So as you guys have arrived back in the camp, you guys start for the first time getting some information about why you're really here and why Devlin thought you guys were so important that they had to snatch you guys out of the timeline, and why the Nightmare King kind of looked at Kenopsia as someone who was important and was like, you know what?
It's because I'm built different. I'm built differently. Okay.
That's our special K.
I keep saying that, but nobody seems to listen to me. Whatever.
No, for sure. So we kick things off getting back to the camp, and then everyone kind of learning the fact that you guys are stuck in this dreamscape, which is not the waking world. And for the most part, people stuck in the dreamscape are kind of just living through these nightmarish sort of dreams. And they're essentially telling you guys, this is what's been going on. The life you thought you were living was actually just a nightmare that's constructed to kind of torment you guys. So in kind of getting pulled out of that nightmare, you have become awakened. And now that you are awakened in the dreamscape, the Madame Rava and Devlin are part of the Awakened, and they want you to join them and help awaken others and try to wake up everyone to escape the dreamscape and get back to the real waking world. So what were you guys' thoughts on that? Who was thinking that was wild or saw that coming? What do you guys think? Cypher, let's start off with you. What was your impression of the dreamscape?
Well, it's very I'm sorry, but I keep thinking about the Matrix where it's like, you know.
Yeah,
I can see it. Yeah, having a lot of parallels for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But this one it's got its own brand, and I really love that. I very much enjoy this this upside down, inside out that we're experiencing all together, and the mystery of what is to come is very enticing. I like these things. I like the it.
Well, that's good to hear, because I know Nyx oftentimes seems standoffish, like they're unimpressed with kind of what's going on. But you would say that Cypher, you as a player, are probably a little more tantalized, or do you think Nyx is, but it's just very, very chill about it? They're too subtle.
No. She's not too subtle. she really is nonplussed. I think
she's
that
too cool for this place. She's too cool for the dreamscape.
in a way, like, I guess you could say that, but she doesn't even feel that way. She's like, I want to, like, not necessarily, like, she doesn't necessarily want to belong anywhere particular. She just wants to be not alone. So these hoops and all of these mountains that we've been climbing, she's just doing it because it's her duty. Like, that's her thing. And I think that it's more of a, like, I think we mentioned this before, she's very ride or die. So she's just kind of like, she's very grounded. Whatever's going on, Nyx is still Nyx. It's not really changing who she is at her core. So, maybe she is kind of chill about it in a way, but in a cool way.
Yeah, very cool.
That's our Nyx.
That's our
so
Nyx.
cool.
Yeah. So any other thoughts on the overall idea of the dreamscape? Are you guys excited by the idea? I have to say, like, putting a lot of thought into how to pull you guys out of an existing campaign that was kind of being derailed, coming up with the idea of being like, hey, what if everything you guys did was kind of a dream, but not really? Like, it's based on your real life, but now you guys are unsure what part is real and what part isn't.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's so tasty.
Thank you. I think it gives a lot of mystery to your guys' characters, while at the same time, offering a lot of new stuff for you guys to check out and be like, well, what is possible in the dreamscape? Like, what am I looking at here?
Yeah. It also gives, like, some existential dread. Thinking like, what from our lives really happened? What actually was real? What here, like, we were in the dreamscape, but like, are, like, everybody we see here, these are all people we need to awaken? Or do some of these people, like, they are a creation of the dreamscape? And
it essentially boils down to no pressure, but pressure. That's exact, like, there is, like, no pressure or anything, but it's like there is something very daunting about that at the same time. Just like, like, hey, you guys might be the next big thing, and it's like, oh fuck, we're the next big thing.
Being told it's again, it's a classic, like, RPG, classic storytelling thing of, like, you guys are the chosen ones. You have been selected to save our realm. Like, and it's cool. Like, no,
I don't think
it's a classic.
Any of them are super rejecting this call outright. But it's also like, they really don't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah.
Like, the only way they could go is off into the dreamscape and get caught up in some other nightmare and never return. It's like, it's like, you have to essentially choose, like, do you want to keep this this freedom for yourself, but you're still going to have to be doing these monumental tasks for who knows how long. And, because, time doesn't work the same way that it does in real life.
Right.
Or you could take your own chances. But is that really what you want? Is that really what you want to do?
Yeah, there's definitely some concern there of like, what is the burden of being these prophesized people who are supposed to help the dreamscape, So right now it's still very early in the adventure, especially in terms of what toll does it take on me to help you guys fulfill your prophecy. But as a party, I think you guys are still really getting your footing still, that a lot of what's going on is new and weird and different. And I know for Kenopsia, there was definitely the amnesia quality of your character, even previous to our campaign, to Pristine Dreams, where Kenopsia was trying to find this kind of lost background that they have. And in a weird way, you're kind of this linchpin connection that Devlin manages to make. We knew that early on from our first few sessions that Devlin kind of picked out like, hey, there's something different about you. And when you guys finally arrive at the Awakened camp, and they kind of are explaining this to you, they explain, we pegged you because look, and they point over like you wear the same symbol that we do, which is that bear claw on the back of your cloak. So how did you feel about that, Kenopsia? How did Juno feel about that?
I get really excited about it. I'm really excited about it. And I think in a way it also excited Kenopsia, like, oh fuck, finally something to leap towards, something I can like hold on to, and something that is tangible and connects me to something somewhere. It's not much, but I think it's definitely a lot more than he's had.
Yeah.
And he'll take it where he can get it, the answers come few and far between, and only now is he finally getting a taste of it. So that's been really exciting, but also again very scary. There is something scary about learning about yourself, because what if it is bad? What if you are something so unspeakably bad and nobody knows and you have yet to find out, and then suddenly one day everyone will know but you? I don't know, man.
Oh
yeah. It's very, again, there's a lot to be excited for. There's a lot to be anxious about also.
Oh, for sure. And there's still so much more reveal in our opening session here, where of course Madame Rava, who's hanging around at the camp with you guys, and Devlin are kind of spilling the beans. They're filling you guys in on what's going on in the dreamscape and what they kind of think your role in it is. Essentially these, prophets that have come to kind of awaken everyone. So they proceed to describe the fact that you guys were probably awakened because of some lingering connection that you guys have to ancient deities. Now, they do mention that the Nightmare King has somehow managed, they believe, to have put these ancient gods to sleep. And with that being in play, the connection is very loose to these ancient deities. So they try to look for it. They try to make these connections, and little drippity drops, little siphons of power can come from those ancient deities. And we sort of manifest them into what we think of as deities now, right? So things that would be common to 5e or Pathfinder. But in essence, they are just avatars. They are just watered down versions of the original ancient deities that they believe you guys are specifically linked to. And they Nyx, I think, was great, who asked, like, well, yeah, aside from Kenopsia, how the hell are the rest of us linked to that? And Madame Rava tells you guys, well, each of you carry an ancient totem with you that is linked to a different ancient deity. We've been watching you guys and how you interact with the world, and we think we've pegged each of you to a specific deity. But we want to do a seance, and we want you guys to get together, and we're going to use a crystal ball, and we are going to read you and your weapons, and we're going to find out what god is actually tapping into you. You know, who are you making a connection with? So what'd you guys think of seance time?
I
was
loved
very
it.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Loved seance time.
It's
Love
great.
love a little bit of little spooky little just
Divination, baby.
divination, some mystery and magic.
Absolutely.
Maybe even
Yeah.
a little mischief. Oh.
There was definitely
Yeah.
some mischief going on with Rinverhi and Nyx, who were like drinking and chowing down
Yeah.
during the seance.
I mean, listen, we were in a camp. It was time to chill out after what we went through.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys had a
We
pretty
drink
weird
and
day.
feed, and then we'll commune with spirits or the stars, as they said. But like, yeah, it was really fun,
Yeah.
and I liked that it was also a way of like passing along like a spotlight to everybody. Everybody gets to sit down and see why they're special,
Yeah.
which is fun. Yeah.
So again, I always try to avoid this as a GM. Whenever I'm running a game, I don't like to do the very long, I'm just sitting down with one person part, but it's so inevitable. Whenever you've got,
It is inevitable.
Yeah. you've got exposition that's got to get dumped
Exactly.
sometimes, and people get their moment. And in a way,
Mhm.
I think it's special for each individual character. So I hope that comes across to you guys, that each of you feels like, oh, I get my time to shine and learn about me and ask my questions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's fun
I
to see
totally
everybody
felt
else go
that.
through it. Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
I was really into my like whole moment with Asteria, but also getting to see how everybody else reacted to the unveiling of their god. And also what like the whole ordeal.
She's gorgeous.
Don't look at me. But fuck, I got cut this shit out. Cut me hemming and hawing out, please. For Christ's
Every time
fucking sake.
every time you say that, no, it always gets kept in.
No,
It's like it's like,
I'm
hey,
pleading
penis.
you. I'm pleading with you, please.
Also, I'll see what I can do.
No. Yeah.
Shaking his
I'm
head. No.
no. What the fuck ever, man. Whatever.
So yeah, we started off here with Asteria. So Asteria
Yeah.
was the connection for Kenopsia, that Asteria is the titan of the fallen stars. So again, the second most ancient type of deity being primordials, titans, and then gods, right? So knowing that you came from a little bit of a higher tier deity had to be kind of cool. But also that
No pressure.
Asteria was basically had dominion over nocturnal divination, which would be like nighttime soothsaying, reading the stars and the fortunes through that. And of course, dreams, and having dreams and interpretations of interpreting dreams to try to gain their meaning. So this was a huge connection to make, in the sense that it would seem that, yes, Asteria with slightly more power than other deities and a connection to the dream world that's stronger than most other deities has been able to kind of reach out to you directly for some unknown reason. So
Yeah, no pressure or anything. And I think that also freaks Kay out a little bit, because he's like, oh, this is not big fish. this is like the big fish at the bottom of the pond, you know? Like, she's a big fucking deal.
Oh,
and
yeah.
She has a lot of power, presumably, over this domain when she's awake. And how much power she's able to lend Kenopsia, even while asleep, is, still eyebrow raising, because like somehow she is still able to establish a connection with him, even while in a deep sleep.
Yes.
And I know I say Kay is very scared a lot of the time, but it's like I don't know how to put it. I don't know how else to put it. He is scared. Everything he does, he's kind of a little scared about it, because it's like, I have no idea where this is going to end me or my friends. And I have no idea how this is going to turn out when, like, should she wake up, what's going to happen? Is she going to be able to tell me anything? Or am I just going to be chasing my own tail? Is this going to be worth it? It just, like, also wondering if, like, that self-doubt of, like, oh, she's chosen me, but will I be able to serve?
Right.
You know?
Well, if it wasn't enough of a bag of worms, make sure to ask yourself, what does me receiving this gift? What servitude bargain am I entering in with this?
Yeah. What does this mean for me?
Yeah.
What will she want from me in return? And I think that's also a very daunting concept for Kenopsia.
Now, in terms of getting a boon, though, they do kind of reveal to you that you guys can make offerings in exchange for divine favor. And this divine
name.
Yes, exactly. So this divine favor being essentially a free reroll, kind of replicating what a hero point would be or inspiration, but kind of flavoring it up kind of for our world a little bit more and giving you guys the opportunity to connect with your deity in a more practical way. Because I've always felt like that's something that's kind of missing from a lot of D&D. And although we have 4 characters who are not all very spiritual people, like having this connection to a deity, even for basic characters like clerics and divine sorcerers and wizards, their connection to a deity, paladins, they always seem a little bit superfluous. Like, you have to role play any aspect of your deity into the game more than it's any sense of mechanically beneficial what deity you choose. So just real quick, not to jump off Asteria, but Rinverhi, what are your thoughts on that kind of adaptation of a deity to make it something more influential in play?
I think it's great. Yeah, because like you said before, usually it's up to the player to just role play integrate, the player and the GM to remember, like, right, you follow a god, you want to pray or something.
Right.
But yeah, like having it tie into a mechanic thing, I think is really fun, because you can also still, role play out doing these things or what it means to your character to be making these offerings to these gods. And now you get a fun little point for doing it.
Yeah. And so, like, Rinverhi and Kenopsia, when you guys started in the first session, you guys were both essentially playing a type of cleric. And
yes,
there was a lot of connection to that deity, where several times throughout the gameplay, you both were asking me like, oh, hey, can I pray? Can I pray to my deity for something? And it was like, why is there no actual mechanic for that? Why is there not actual stuff?
I'm glad. That? Yeah, I'm glad the needy holy men inspired you.
There is one instance that I will forget from I will never forget from our former game, where it's like we had been separated, and Rinverhi was out in like the hallway somewhere, and Kenopsia and Bran were like trapped, separated from everybody else. And Kenopsia was like, shit, I have no way to get in contact with them. Oh, I know what I can do. And he prays to his god. But just, please, if you can hear me, send Rinverhi a sign. Let him know that we are in danger and we need his help. And I roll really low. So instead, Rinverhi just like looks over and he sees just like, oh, a beautiful butterfly just floats over you.
Yeah, and literally just Rinverhi's like, oh wow, butterfly. It reminds me of Kenopsia. I'll tell him about it later when I find him.
Just like, that's the most unhelpful sign ever. But hey, it was still a sign.
Yeah.
So
So
very obvious.
yeah,
But it was a sign.
We're gonna I like the mechanics you laid out for us, and like we have spoilers of what's in store for those.
Yes.
And like it's very exciting, but we're also I think we're also going to keep doing shit like that. We're like, dear Asteria, dear Apollo.
Oh, for sure.
Fucking help, please.
Dear Asteria, I am so fucking scared. With love, your chosen Kenopsia. P.S. Please send help. I am going to throw up.
XO.
Okay.
So I think that's great, though. I like that. And I remember early on in that first session, y'all were telling me how much you enjoyed that. I was like, yeah, roll %, and then we'll see how in tune your deity is, you know?
I was not used to rolling with percentiles because in the last game we just rolled with our religion modifier,
right?
And we didn't roll with percentiles. We rolled with our religion modifier.
But I like that you use the percentiles instead of basing it on a stat.
Yes.
Because now I like when we were moving over to 5e, I was like, I wasn't worried about being wise. That's a cleric thing. I don't need that to heal or to praise a deity.
You are unwise as hell. You are not street smart, despite being formerly street smart.
He's just chill.
Yeah.
Well,
head empty, full of rose.
The idea with the % is that you know, you're an adventurer who is a cleric, right? In the example, right? If you're a paladin or whatever,
one of many.
The same rule applies, right? You have trained your whole life in your religion. You know how to pray correctly. You're not going to biff it in the most influential moment of your life ever. So to me, it's never about a player making a roll to get their god's attention. It's whether or not that god is paying attention to you. You know, they've got 50 million other things to be doing. You know?
That's true. I was gonna say also we aren't their only follower. They're probably but it's also like, hey, I'm your chosen, and also I love you. Smile.
Yes, and in D&D,
I love you more than anyone else, so you should pay attention to me, please.
No, in TTRPG, it's more the idea of there are times when I look back and I see only one set of footprints. And that's when your deity's helping one of the other 8 billion people on the planet, dude. Give them a fucking break, okay? It can't always be right with you. You know?
Right, yeah.
So very much so. But more about the mechanics in just a little bit. Let's go ahead and let's talk just ever so briefly. Kenopsia, I want to just round this out with you. So you also discovered that your cloak is called the Cloak of the Lucid, giving you control over the dreamscape itself, where you can transmute rock to stone and vice versa. Or polymorph one creature depending on how you use the charge. So what'd you think of that little token? I it's funny. I remember you looked at it on your sheet because I was like, add this homebrew thing, but don't read the description.
Say that. I listen, you said that and then I was like, oh, look at this. Like you said it, but it didn't absorb in my stupid sponge fucking brain at all. I heard you, but it didn't absorb. And I was just like, oh my God, look at this. And then I was like, oh shit, he didn't want me to read this. And then I was like, I felt so embarrassed. But it is looking back on it, I do appreciate my enthusiasm.
Oh,
just
yeah.
wanted to see.
No.
Listen, it was like Christmas Day. You get a new gift, you open it, and you're like, oh my God, look at it.
Yeah. So again, kind of trying to put you guys more in line with these deities and showcasing their power in a way that you can utilize. So from Kenopsia wrapping up their kind of portion of the seance, Madame Rava kind of reluctantly takes on Rinverhi to come and be the next. But of course, Alexei is the one kind of helping people get set up, Madame Rava's brother. And he kind of seems to have a little vibe with you here, Rinverhi. What do you think about that?
I thought at first it didn't immediately click like, oh, we have the same god. I was just like, why is he handling my sword like that? I don't know
Why is
you,
he?
but yeah, like, but I could. Yeah, but then it was like, oh, I get it. Okay, we're Apollo bros.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like having that connection with Alexei because he seems really cool compared to his sister, who is unreasonably mean to me. I don't know why.
For like,
I do know why, but yeah,
He's just a hater.
yeah, she's a hater because Rinverhi is nice, and that's it. Oh, Apollo.
She's a hater, but like we're lovers.
Yes.
We were holding hands.
Sorry, I
Yes.
really needed to lean in there. I'm sorry.
No, I like
No,
how
you got
aggressively you said we're lovers.
how everyone wants to hear it. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
High five!
Like a hostage situation.
Yeah. Surprise. Welcome to my domain.
Yeah, I love Apollo. Look at him. He's so filled with light. So yeah, I thought he was a great
Look at that handsome
deity for Rinverhi. Yes.
Yeah, good
Slappable
choice
face.
in the healing qualities of them, but also Apollo being known for the arts, most notably athletic arts like sports and kind of music, helps Alexei kind of fit in that wheelhouse of the more athletic type of follower, where you are more of the healing type of follower.
Yeah, he's into the healing. Yeah, but like also Rinverhi, not strong. I think he has negative in his strength. However, he's very dexy. So, if there's ever like a knife throwing thing or archery or something, he stands a chance at being able to do that. And he has performance. So he can,
you're very charming now, so you can do a little soliloquy or something.
Exactly. And he's been practicing with his little Rinverhi puppet. So maybe he'll put on a puppet show at some point.
There you go.
Yeah. But I really liked Apollo. Mm-hmm.
That would be a hell of a ventriloquist act, You're like, it's me, but look, I'm also talking as me.
Yes. No, look at this me not talking, but this me is talking.
Like,
is that not fascinating?
You know what? No matter what, one of his mouths are always moving. I'm not buying this.
No, that's supposed to be the fun part. Wait.
So Rinverhi finds out that they are being kind of tapped by Apollo, ancient Greek deity himself, coming in with the Dawnbringer, the short sword that you have that turns out it's actually a Xiphos. We updated our image art to reflect that as well. So you have kind of an ancient Greek sword, apparently once used or blessed by Apollo himself.
Yeah, and I love it. And I think Apollo being like representing healing light and stuff. He was a good transitional deity, like deity to move on to from the deities Rinverhi also followed in the past because of switching systems.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like I was actually thinking about like how does Rinverhi handle suddenly worshiping like a new god? Because like a big part of him is like he worships like his light god very devoutly. He's very devout because this path of light has done a lot for him. So I was like, is he gonna grapple with the new name here, but I'm like, no, it's being of light. And he's just thinking like, okay, the god of light, the light has taken a new form. I love it.
Well, I also very much like the idea of the light kind of reflecting illumination and the concept of illumination, going back to Apollo's motto of know thyself. And this whole idea of self-reflection that seems to be a journey that Rinverhi is very much on. Yeah. Kind of, you're almost over a big hurdle of it because you knew who you were, you didn't want to be.
Yes,
And
exactly.
I think in a lot of ways now Rinverhi is a lot more comfortable with who they are, but where do you see this journey of enlightenment kind of heading for him?
I think for him, it's also like he recognizes who he was in his past, and to a certain degree, he was forced to be, but not completely. He still had his own agency, and it's like, I don't want to be that person anymore. But now it's also kind of accepting like that is still a part of him, like his past. Because like knowing yourself isn't just being like, that didn't happen. I don't do that stuff anymore. So that's not me. But I think for that, it's also, carrying your past with you and letting it influence the good you do in the future in every decision you make.
And you said your character wasn't wise. Look at that. That's very astute. Again, considering where the campaign started, with Rinverhi clearly still dealing with their past, not really being over it, is that part of knowing thyself in terms of don't just hide the part that you're afraid of, like understand it, understand who you are and what that meant, and how you don't have to give up what you had, but you make it a part of who you are now still, so that you're true to yourself kind of thing. So very cool stuff there.
Thank you.
And I know with the sword itself, it actually has some healing attributes where you can use the various charges to cast healing spells as well as do like kick-assy kind of fire damage.
Yes.
But there was a bit of an ominous warning. What'd you think of that?
Can you remind me what the ominous warning was?
In terms of do not let the light be extinguished from the blade.
It filled me with a lot of anxiety. It made me never want to take the sword out ever. But so that's like when we continue on in the adventure, I'm just like, okay, we're going somewhere that's gonna be cold. I'm just gonna keep it safe.
I fucking noticed that, dude. That I was like, what's going on here? Okay.
And then as we go along, like noticing like, oh, Nyx's produce flame didn't work, huh? Oh, when I tried to firebolt, oh, that didn't work, huh?
You're just like, hey, GM,
I didn't
trying to fuck me, man. What's going on here?
I didn't even catch that, but oh god!
Me and E were
me
playing a little cat and mouse on that one.
No, exactly. Exactly. I was like, you're sending a summer cold, and you just warned me about my sword. Yeah, I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep that on me. I'm gonna keep that sheet.
That's one of those things where it's like, I thought you wouldn't catch that one.
Yeah.
Well played.
That was good.
No. You made me think about it. Yeah. No, that's fine.
Yeah. I gotta say, Endo, if I had that ball in my court, I would have fucking fumbled it. You are doing plus one to all future rolls for my silly Billy in arms, my clown in camaraderie.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Listen, sometimes I'm overthinking things, but then sometimes I'm on something.
Sometimes you and I were handshaking and we're frolicking through the fields.
Yes, I love
sometimes
you're
with my friends. Looking at little blue butterflies.
Yay, and they're so lovely.
Don't look behind you. Don't worry about the weird oncoming thing. We're just hanging out.
Yeah.
Just hanging out.
Next up after Rinverhi gets connected with their deity, Bran gets connected up with their deity of choice. So sitting down, you get quite a bit of news, Bran. What'd you think about your dealings with Persephone, Queen of the Underworld?
Persephone, baby girl, I love her. Also, just yes, duality as a theme.
Yes.
Both life and death being core pieces. As a man who is dedicated to killing things that need to be killed and protecting those who need to be protected. Yeah, that's it. That's the. You got it.
Yeah, well, definitely, like it fits those brand themes so well, especially like you said, the duality of it, the fact that, Persephone, again, the ancient Olympian god, would spend half the year on the surface during the spring harvest and the other half of the year in the underworld, where they are the queen of the underworld, married to Hades and trying to manage the souls of the dead,
Mm-hmm.
So there's always that lingering thing of, which world do you really live in? How do you balance both? Can I be around monsters for half the year and not be a monster when I go back topside? So this is very much, yes, Bran's dilemma. So it makes sense that Persephone would see you as a person and be like, okay, that guy, I like him. And of course, go ahead.
Also going to have a fun time. Like, previously, Bran wasn't much for deities. So it's going to be fun trying to, reconcile that in character of, oh, I've been of note to a god. Interesting.
Yes. Yeah, I know you've had some bad dealings.
As bad dealings with a god, and also just not being loyal to you don't need the power of a god, Bran. You have you. Why would you need an aiding of a god? And so now knowing you are impossible service to one because somehow she has chosen you and has given you her power, I'm sure that is a little scary for him, because he's like, I didn't ask for this. He didn't ask for this.
I didn't sign up for this.
Hanging out. Just hanging out, dude.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot going on between you and Persephone, and all three of you with your connected deities have a lot to look forward to in terms of discovering more of their power as they awaken and discovering more of the connection that you may have with them. But in terms of the relics so far of your guys' dream tokens, Bran, I have to say, I think you probably got the most surprising one. And he's joining us on the table right down to my left right there. Carl the Cauldron. Down there looking cute. So in a fun reveal, Madame Rava describes to you that despite how he may appear due to any sort of magical glamour, that we see him as a very modern day, or I guess contemporary, let's say contemporary, because this isn't a modern day setting. It's still kind of medieval timesy. But despite the fact that he looks contemporary, Carl's actually an ancient tripod from ancient Greece, who himself is awakened, but in more the sense that he is a living object. And that in ancient Greece, tripods were used for prophesizing. They were used to fortune tell and tell the future, and do divination. So you have one that's just been walking around with you. And how do you feel about that, Bran?
That's going to be so interesting, going forward.
Yeah.
Also, just touching on something that happens later, or never mind.
Oh, you can talk about the slumber party if you want.
Okay. So, to Bran, Carl has always been more than an object, per se. Has chatted and chatted back to beloved Carl the Cauldron. So I don't think like, oh, it's alive is the surprise. I think it's like, oh, it is a cauldron with like history. It is tripod. It is something that is new to you.
Yes.
And that's going to be very interesting.
But for the others who, just to shimmy ahead just for a second, getting to hear Carl kind of speak out loud for the first time at the end of the day, as everyone's kind of relaxing in the tent, having a few minutes, they do hear Carl mention that it's good to be seen, and this is a big shock, I think, to Rinverhi and Kenopsia. And
yeah, like a splash of cold water in the face. Like, Kay is just like trying to unwind, trying to talk himself down from that, that dangerous place of spiraling in your own thoughts. And he's laying there and he's finally kind of drifting off towards unconsciousness. And then suddenly the fucking cauldron speaks. And then it's like, has someone been eavesdropping on this conversation the whole time? And you sit up, bolt right, and you're just like, what? No,
that's exactly that's exactly.
It can't
what?
be.
Who was that? That was you, Bran? And like, no. And Rinverhi, Bran be like, no, it's Carl.
Yeah, like I told you guys, he always talks.
Yeah, and Rinverhi like, I just thought that was a quirk of yours. In parentheses, I just thought you were weird.
So there's going to be a lot to check out with Carl, especially knowing now that he has charges both for create food and drink, but also for augury. That's such a weird word to pronounce. Augury, whatever that is, where you can kind of do a little bit of fortune telling of your own, at least in the short term. So hopefully Carl will be a lot of fun and shenanigans, and we love having him here representing, rolling out the banner to show some love and to ask y'all to like and subscribe. So if you did check out the video and you made it this far and you're enjoying it, feel free to do that. Otherwise, we're going to get right back to the seance here with our last participant, Nyx. So, Cypher.
I mean, did she really participate?
This was big for me. Like I had this set up. I knew this was coming. For a little bit of behind the curtain for everyone, we worked up these deities over a few months and then decided to incorporate them into the game. The players all gave me a lot of feedback about what type of deity they were looking for. I gave them some choices between different ones. And this is us kind of play testing through them. So Cypher definitely knows what deity they're connected to, but Nyx does not. So in terms of us going through all the seances, we have these little animations. If you want to see them, check out the actual video. I'm sure there's a link in the description. There's a nice little video that reveals the deity through the crystal ball that Madame Rava is using. And each character has gotten that. And the party has not, our real life players have not seen these videos before. So getting to watch the first three, Cypher, how'd you feel watching yours?
Well, there's a lot of mystery here, and I was weirdly like not surprised.
Now again, you didn't know this was going to happen.
No, but something about it, like maybe it's not that I was not surprised, but more I was like, this feels appropriate. Like, knowing the deity that she is connected to, I was like, now this is interesting, and it would make sense too. Nyx, however, just watched her companions all connect to something or somebody. And for her to end up not connecting to anything yet or at all, like she's got a lot of liquor in her, and she's got a belly full of pork, and she's okay right now. She's okay right now.
But
There's
maybe not
that
so much
inevitable
later.
realization,
but
the
I think
inevitable
it will.
realization of that, like sinking in, just like, oh,
yes, exactly.
I was never supposed to be a part of this equation ever. I came along and I fucked the whole thing up. I fucked up the whole shebang.
Well, again, we don't super know what's going on. We have an idea, right? Devlin and them have an idea. And,
right.
It prompts them as your seance reveals a mysterious kind of almost demonic skull, as opposed to a deity. Everyone's caught off guard. And they do like you guys actually tell Devlin that, like, hey, Nyx was not really with us. Like, they used to be a different person and then they died. So that's always mentioned in our intro, the reincarnated rogue. So to have that kind of come full circle, where now it's like the prophecy is a little bit broken. There is something wrong here now, and this is not perhaps the person who is supposed to fill this seat. So the theories were going all over the place, and Alexi and Devlin finally come up with a plan that they know someone that they are going to get and bring back to hopefully figure out what is going on with Nyx.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a good idea.
No, like, we don't want to just leave it as it.
Just say
she's gonna, right now she's like, oh yeah, that's fine. It's whatever. I don't need anybody. I just need myself. I just need my boys. I'm good. And then, like, I think that, I don't know, I just feel like there's this draft on her back or something that she's already started to feel. Yeah.
No, we got you, Nick.
Oh,
You're where are you sure you're meant to be with us?
Right.
That's all that matters.
But also, are you sure it's not phantom pain from the
you want to keep
from the
you'll get there.
From the all right, guys, it's been real.
Snake!
It's been real. It's been real, but I'm out of here.
Real.
I'm out of here. All right, but bye. That's me. That's me opening my prison cell and closing the doors.
Oh, you arrested yourself. Okay.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I guess we can go on with the show.
Okay. So yes, having this expert kind of come in is going to take some time, they tell you. But in the meantime, they do describe that the gloaming shard dagger that you have, as you're using it, is able to, like, cut through the dreamscape, and you're able to kind of walk through almost like a shadow plane of the dreams and get to another location. So essentially working the same way that it has been working, but understanding that this is literally moving you from, like, one sort of dream reality to another. In addition to that, you are still granted divine favor because some deity is connecting to you. It's why you have the dagger, right? But they don't know who or why or for what purpose, or how to please them, because these ancient deities, they do not see morality the same way that we do. It is not about good or evil. It is about what they like. And if you don't do what they like, they will poo-poo bad things on you. If you do what they like, they will give you divine favor and other blessings. So they told you just keep doing what you're doing because apparently you're making someone happy.
Excellent.
Yeah. So in true Nick's fashion, you went and took another bite of pork, poured out some wine in the fire, and said, all right, whatever, dude. I'm going to bed.
Yeah, pretty much.
So when all's said and done, they tell you that the first step in kind of strengthening this connection with your deities will take the form of lighting an ancient hearth. That they believe fire is a huge connection to the deities of old. And to do that, they need a Vestal, which is like an ancient person trained in lighting and maintaining a hearth. So since they have all been extinguished, they want you guys to go and track one down. And there is one that Madame Rava knows, and knows hopefully where they're at if they're still there and still alive. Madame Rava reveals that their grandmother, who taught them about the ancient deities, mentioned being a Vestal themselves when they were younger. So if there was a chance that you guys could go and retrieve grandma and bring her back to the awakened camp, then you may be able to relight a hearth and strengthen your connection to these ancient deities. So with that in mind, she tells you that to get to her grandma's house, you have to go through what's known as the Black Forest. And the Black Forest is a sort of kind of weird, ever-changing landscape that connects the different dreams all throughout the dreamscape. And you never really know what's going on inside of it. Sometimes you could walk in there and they tell you it could be 1,000 years ago. Sometimes it could be a future that hasn't happened yet. Sometimes it could be a world unlike anything you've ever seen. But you never really know. You just have to try to find your way through it and get where you're going. There are some people who are better at navigating it, but for the most part, Madame Rava has never been able to get back to her grandma to reconnect with her. So she's asking if you guys will bear the burden of trudging through the Black Forest and trying to get to the town that her grandma lives in called Arcadia.
And then we said no, and the game ended.
Thanks
for joining us for the last game of Pristine Dreams.
Yep. See you all in hell, and I hope that we never meet.
Roll credits. We're done. All right.
Roll credits.
Roll credits.
So, of course, they tell you, hey, take tonight, rest up, everything like that. You guys can head out in the morning. At which point you guys had kind of a little impromptu slumber party, which it was one of my favorite parts of the whole session. I love really being able to turn over the reins to some talented RPers and letting you guys just do your thing in character and talk and enjoy the setting that I'm providing. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to give you guys a chance to talk about it, but I do want to point out that Cypher is, I feel so bad because on one hand, you're doing the same expert RP, but Nyx is just going to bed. I don't want to talk to you guys.
True to character.
No,
Exactly.
Listen, here's the thing, right? She ate a lot of food. She drank a lot of alcohol.
Pork. Yeah.
Yeah, she had so much pork, and she was probably
Anybody would care.
she's out, dude. I don't blame her. If she's out. Yeah, I think that's a very in character thing of her to do. If she was able to stay awake for longer than 5 minutes, I would have been. She said, "Yeah, I'm awake." Snort, and that's fine. That's that was great.
That's
for
so
me.
real.
Mm-hmm.
That's so relatable in a slumber party setting.
Mm.
Just I'm awake is not awake. the first person to fall asleep at the slumber party.
So
Yep.
for those of y'all out there who GM your own games, I will give you this bit of advice. Be patient with your players. Give them time. This is something I often see in a lot of games that both I'm playing and when I am a player, is that a GM will try to keep you guys on track, try to keep things moving because they're the narrator. They're in control of the pace of the story. But you do want to remember to pause and give your players time to role play. And yes, sometimes even I forget to do that and I kind of steamroll through stuff. But moments like this are really how the game starts taking on a life of its own, where your players can really start contributing to the story if you as a GM just listen to them. What are their thoughts and feelings as portrayed by their characters? Where do they want to go? You know, and not every player out there is going to do this. A lot of people are a little hands-offy with the role play. But when you get those moments offered to you as a player, you may not take advantage the first time or the second or even the third. But when your shyest players start jumping in those quiet moments, that's really what's going to start helping them and your game get that RP level up. So thank you guys for taking the reins there for a good 10 minutes or so of having a fun little slumber party where I could learn a lot about your characters and their interactions and their inner thoughts and their feelings. And feel free to share anything with our audience right now about that from a player perspective.
We could have done it for longer.
We really could
yeah.
have. But
So long.
I mean, yeah, you're thanking us for doing it. Like, our pleasure,
Yeah,
But,
that's
thank you for giving
that's
us
no
the
skin
space.
off our balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Exactly.
appreciate the we like Endo said, we appreciate having the space to do it because, like you mentioned, a lot of times DMs will just kind of steamroll over that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
And I understand.
Yeah.
From a GM's perspective of like, you want to keep the game rolling. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of fears for GMs when they're running a game is like, I don't want my players to be bored. I don't
Yes.
want a moment
Right.
of quiet.
Mhm.
If it gets
Right.
quiet, oh my God, here's the next scene. Go, do something.
Yes. Yeah,
know.
exactly.
Real.
Or
Yeah.
we
Real.
have a story we want to tell or a place we want to get to, a stopping point or whatever.
Yeah.
Or something we're just excited about sharing. So we're going to
Yes.
steamroll some elements, travel by screen edit. But sometimes you got to have those moments where you let your players sink into it because that is the collaborative storytelling,
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I will say as a player, like, being rushed in a game really takes me out of it. Like, it removes a lot of fun for me when it doesn't become about the characters going on this journey anymore or exploring a world. It becomes getting from point A to point B. Like, get to this place, get this quest, kill these monsters, turn in the quest, get to the
Right.
next place. Yeah. And like, that's personally for me, I really, really don't like it. It's really important for me as a player to have that space to interact with the other characters or NPCs and just role play a little bit. Of course, not too much. Like, you got to find a balance because, yeah, like Juno
Mhm.
said, we could have done that for longer, and we really could have. But
No,
I can
yeah.
attest. I can
There's-
attest.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a DM for a different game, and the amount of scenes that they can just go off of doing nothing in a diner,
Yeah.
and ordering for like 30 minutes or more. We know, and that's not me dunking on anyone, because anyone who really does commit that amount of patience and time to role playing, I can tell they're really serious about it, and that helped. It really did. It's seeing other people and giving them the space to role play and experiment with their characters. It gives more connection for the audience to see them like interact, because if it's just like story stuff all the time, we never really, and having no personal moments for a character, it can make it hard to feel connected to them.
Mhm.
Oh,
You want
for
to
sure.
root for
Mhm.
your cast.
Yeah, and again, you guys have a very like Tarantino quality when it comes to a diner scene. Like, they end up being very involved, very engaged, very realistic. So, it's a good group to really give you guys the reins and let you roll with it, so to speak, but if you're ever a GM out there and you're seeing that you're not getting enough kind of table talk or as much as you would like to see, perhaps, you don't really want to push your players, but, create yourself a little NPC that can give them a moment, a word or two, a sentence, some small interaction, because as their kind of slumber party is coming to its natural close, I can interject a little voice from Carl to reinvigorate that conversation. But to me, in a fun way, right before I'm going to end this scene, but had it stagnated a little bit, yes, I could have Carl kind of interact with them a little bit more to help get them out of their shell, so everything doesn't always need to be mission goal oriented all the time. Sometimes people need to live in the world a little bit. So that was a very fun part of the game. So again, kudos to everyone for that. That was super fun.
Yeah. Glad you thought it was fun. And yeah, again, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for letting us.
We had fun doing it. And
Of course.
Yeah,
it was fun having everybody talk.
Yeah. Good on you, Juno, for initiating. That was
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, trust me, I love fucking around, and I was just like, if he'll let me play ball, because like it feels like there's stuff to be discussed, and so that's one of the things as well. With learning to role play is taking a chance.
Yeah,
and
sure.
it can be very scary to put that first foot forward and be like, oh, what if people don't get in? But it's like the worst thing that will happen is that you say it and not a lot comes from it, or you try. Yeah,
exactly.
The thing is, you don't know until you start trying to do it.
Yeah.
And I've been role playing with these guys for a good while now, so I've gotten a lot more comfortable with initiating and like taking that first foot, and pushing and trying to insert myself into a situation should it be necessary. And I'm glad that we got to do it, and that Chavez gave us that breathing room. So I'm glad you goobers liked it. I know you fucking goons liked it.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, I'm really glad that you initiated during before we're gonna end the day. That was a great time to do it. And now we had our little sleepover. But I was thinking okay, if we didn't do RP in that first day, being back at camp, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start something in the forest. I was like, I had that cute, and then you had Kenopsia like, is someone awake? And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that you were also kind of on that wavelength of wanting to also do a roleplay oriented moment, because it felt like there was still stuff there that could be done.
Exactly.
It's just like we'd exhausted the main dialogue from the NPCs. It was time for us to do something on our own now.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're playing Baldur's Gate. You just had a major event happen. Now you get to ask all your companions about it. You run around your camp and talk to them.
Like, hey guys, what do you think about that crazy Nautiloid? Like,
exactly. Yeah.
Boy, let me tell you.
So definitely a good time. Definitely something you want to keep an eye out for as a player and a GM, is when you can take that time to slow things down a bit and interact with each other and your other players, the other PCs. Because a lot of people are all about asking NPCs questions, but you have a much more interactive character right beside you than you do at oftentimes the very vapid, quickly put together NPC, But that being said, the next day, you guys do wake up and are charged with heading into the Black Forest and seeking out Madame Rava's grandmother. To make sure she recognizes you, she decides to give Nyx her signature red cloak and tells you, here, take this, show it to my grandma. She'll know that it's from me and that you guys are there to come and get her. With that, you guys decide to brave ahead into the Black Forest, unbeknownst to you guys that it is covered in snow. And as such, you guys are immediately impacted by both the cold and the fact that the provisions they provided you were not things that were meant to be taken into a frozen wasteland, and were foods and liquids that kind of got ruined by the cold, wet environment. So that being said, it was like I was trying to put a little bit of pressure on you guys in terms of survival, but I didn't want to drag this out too much. I didn't want it to be too much of a, I got to start checking boxes and making sure that I got my rations and my water for the day. So how did you guys feel about that? Did that seem like an appropriate amount of kind of survival aspect, or do you think I should have pushed it more and really pushed you guys into some negatives and some mechanical effects? Or do you like the more role-play style of it?
I definitely prefer the more role-play style of it personally. I think you handled it really well when we were playing. That initial moment of seeing our food was messed up. I was very worried, especially after when Nyx couldn't heat any of it up. And I was like, okay, who are we going to eat first? No.
But yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, thanks, Paladin. So very Paladin of you.
And I'm lean, and I got thick thighs and a nice ass.
Yeah,
we'll make
that's
it work.
true. That's true.
Very important things.
We'll make a nice roast for sure.
Thank you. Make a nice
Yeah.
rump roast.
Yes, but
Yeah.
I think you set the tone with it very well. Like, we can't dick around here. We got to get through. But I do want to ask,
Sure.
if we had used Carl, would Carl have worked to make new food and water for us that we could consume?
Yeah, I was considering doing that in the moment, if I'll be honest.
Considering he has create food and water like from scratch, like that's magical. So it would definitely be worth trying out. I'm not sure if I should spoil whether or not you can.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. You don't
but
have
I do think that's a very good idea and something to keep in mind, that that is a different type of acquiring food. In the meantime, I'm glad that you guys kind of enjoyed that survival aspect being mostly a role play kind of situation where I'm not giving you guys any mechanical debuffs, because what are you doing? You're walking through the snow. You don't need any debuffs for anything. But I am taking my time describing how you guys are feeling and how your food situation looks low, which is more a foreshadowing of issues you're going to run into.
Yeah. I feel like if it felt like we were dilly-dallying in the forest, then it would have been the time to maybe impose like negatives and stuff.
Right.
But I felt like we were like, okay, we're moving.
Yes.
Like, we're not wasting time here. So I felt like the way it played out was appropriate.
Good. Well, let that be a lesson then to people out there, that you don't always have to, cross every T and dot every I when you're really going for the role play angle. Now, as you guys moved into the forest, I remember I had set up like a whole kind of like labyrinth for you guys to make choices left, right, this way. And then it would determine the encounters based on your actual choices. And then 100% forgot because the map was so complicated that I made. And it ended up being like, okay, encounter right away. So you guys immediately jump into one of the encounters where you see a prisoner kind of run out into the snow, and you realize that this stranger looks a little worse for wear. He is chained up and falls face down in the snow, seemingly almost at his end. So you guys do rush over to check on this fellow right here.
Hello.
And Kenopsia, I think you were the first to approach. What were your impressions?
kill. Sorry, I was just not actually that Juno was just like, I can't do what I usually do, so it's just say something different. Say something different, kill.
I love how it's either it's smash or kill.
There's no in between.
And then we're gonna get to the one who's to the one who's Mary at some point.
Some point, hopefully.
Oh,
Yeah.
well. Oh well.
Yeah, and then we'll have a full
who's
game
to
of fuck,
say?
Mary, kill, go.
We'll see what happens. But Kenopsia is a man of his word. He doesn't when he says he wants to help people, he does want to help people. And so seeing someone in this frost-bitten forest, he's like, oh shit, if it's dangerous for us, if someone doesn't know their way through this forest, they might be fucked. We have to go in and get them.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say this was such like a fun encounter for me because I tend to kind of plan things around your guys' characters. I want to give each of you kind of a moment that will be directly tied to your character. So looking at this terrain in this dark forest that's hard to navigate with food that runs low, this is very, hey, Bran needs to help us out here. He needs to help us find some food and find a path. This was the challenge I presented for Kenopsia. In essence, a person who needs aid, where a paladin, a champion would be called to come and protect this person. But you immediately notice that they are a shackled person and maybe in fact be a prisoner of some type. So I thought, ooh, what a moral quandary for a person of high ethics and lawful value. And Juno, you were like, Nix, release this person. Let's help them. Give them food and water.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I, Juno, to put it very simply, why would he lie? Why would he do that? Why would he do that to me? I'm a special little boy. Have you considered that? Have you considered
Didn't we have like
boy?
a small little kerfuffle of whether or not he was going to be unchained?
I was going to say, Nix, the other criminal, was like, wait, this guy might be a criminal. Like,
but it's like, here's the thing, right? Like, I listen, like, for me, I know, like, maybe not the smartest thing, but Kay is like, considering their situation, does this guy really want to try something out in the middle of the snowy fucking, like, landscape? Being handcuffed, like he's been handcuffed for who knows how long, and it's a miracle that those fucking shackles were not like sealed to his like. I'm glad he had that fucking fur coat, but because otherwise those and his gloves, because otherwise those things would have been fucking sealed to his flesh.
For sure.
And it's like, obviously, it's not the smartest decision, but Kenopsia is also, when it comes to people in need, it's not always the smartest decision, but he doesn't like seeing that. I don't think something about that, obviously seeing someone, running through the snow, on death's door, it's, you make a choice, and you're not going to let them sit there in cuffs. And even if he is a criminal, Kay isn't going to immediately draw the sword and be like, die, criminal scum. Because it's like, okay, we travel with a criminal, but I'm not drawing my sword on her because I care about her and I care about what she has to say and her cause. He's always willing to lend everyone an ear.
I think I just grossly underestimated like the kindness that would be shown to this person. Like I really thought there'd be more hesitation. And I thought it was funny, just comical in the sense that the paladin was like, oh, release this man, we'll take care of him. And the rogue was like, no, maybe that guy should be in freaking cuffs over there. you
Yeah.
know? So
Right.
like Nix, what were your thoughts on that situation when you saw it?
Dude is already in captivity or not captivity, but what am I trying to say?
Bound.
He's
Yeah.
he is bound. And
Yeah.
Nix's immediate like thing is like, oh yeah, he's in those for a reason. Like, of course. He's
In a way,
supposed to have those on.
it almost feels a bit
reads
like
criminal. No, go ahead, Endo. Go ahead.
it almost feels a little bit like projection. Like Nick's thinking, like,
I was about to say.
yeah.
Yes.
Nick's thinking, if I was found on cuffs, well, it's because I did crime. So this guy clearly did a
You
crime,
get it,
and we don't want him free around us. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's
We're thinking the
exactly
same
what I
thing.
was gonna say.
Yeah.
now-
Exactly.
Now,
We are handshaking so hard right
Yes,
now. Go ahead.
yes.
Go ahead, Chavez. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking Cypher is because I don't know if you're like, no, leave him chained up. He's easier to rob this way, kind of, or like he
Yeah.
might be a threat. He's already chained up. Leave him chained up. It'll save me from having to chain him up.
Yeah, like there's definitely like it's not like it's weird. She doesn't suspect that, like she's too self-confident thinking like he could, you know, do something to them or be much of a threat.
Gotcha.
But just leave him in the chains. Just he's already in them, you know, like I don't think that she thinks you know, she wants to commit a crime, you know, like rob him or anything either. It's really more of, you know, like who are you and what you got there?
Is it sort
what's
of like a
going on?
precaution? Like leave the chains on him just in case he is, and just in case he
A
does try
problem.
something. Yeah. That's
So
fine.
I guess I got it backwards. Like she doesn't want to rob him. She's more concerned, you know, like he's obviously somebody's problem.
Yeah.
I don't want him to be our problem.
Right.
Yep,
I totally
that
get
makes
that.
sense. Yeah. So either way, a good insight to the way that the two different characters think, and that's so cool that you guys had just completely opposite kind of takes on it, but still consensus. You know, like as a group dynamic, you guys said, okay, let's release the guy, let's take care of him. If he tries any bullshit, there's 4 of us, we'll murder the fuck out of him. So
Basically, yeah. Honestly, that was kind of Rinverhi's line of thinking. Like, you know, like we have to help this person is in need, similar to Kay. Like, we see someone who needs help, we must help him. Let him out of the cuffs. He's all clearly like malnourished and has been in this frozen tundra for a long time. So if he does something, we can fucking kill him.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but we have to help him.
Yeah,
so
we have to help him.
you guys do manage to help him, get him some food and everything like that. And you guys come to find out that he claims to be a prince of the town of Arcadia, or the region of Arcadia. And he is telling you that if you can help him get home, you know, that he's sure his father, the king, will give you guys a hefty reward for his safe return home.
Yes.
So,
and I think, didn't we like kind of scope his stuff out to see like does he look rich?
yes. Yeah, and there was a whole thing of for one, how fine his clothes looked and everything like that.
Yeah.
But also that he was shackled in shackles that were like decorative. They were like inlaid with silver and stuff like that. So as you guys are kind of appraising him, the hoofbeats in the distance alert you guys to the fact that his captors are pursuing him. And before you know it, you guys are overwhelmed by a group of centaur who come
Terrifying.
running in. Classic ancient creature here. a son of a bitch to make an art depiction of.
I'm so sure, yeah. But he looks great.
Oh yeah, that is
you.
a fine Centaur.
Yeah.
Thank you. As far as the art pieces go, clearly, like, I use a lot of AI art as inspiration for what goes on in our show. I say that because I do generate AI art, but mostly modify it quite heavily before we get to the final images that are on screen. In this particular case, come to find out, like, most AI language models do not know what the fuck a centaur is. Will not make.
Did they
Not
produce
surprising.
horrific creatures that should never be seen by anyone?
Not really. Like, it was like a guy and a horse, but it will not
I
put
love-
the two together. You know?
That's
a
really
centaur
funny.
is just a man standing next to a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what a centaur is.
Yeah. Or you get like
That's seriously
BoJack
killing
Horseman looking stuff. You know? We're like, that's a horseman, but not a man
Right.
horse.
Right.
Yeah. So this one is probably my most worked on one of everything I've done so far, just because the sheer scope of this creature having to create, you know, a full horse in the snow and everything that looked right, and then an archer to go with it. But then be able to pair the two up in sort of a convincing way.
Yeah, they
It
look
looks
great. It
good.
looks great. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it was quite challenging, but I settled on doing this like kind of armor, like putting in, hey, I want a horse with armor, gave me a type of collar that I could work with to sort of connect to the two torsos.
Yeah, that looks really cool.
But the centaurs do, thank you. The centaurs do approach and basically engage you guys. Like, they start shouting in a language you don't understand, and battle commences. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And-
Oh yeah, we tried to hide, but only Nyx and Bran successfully hid. The rest
You're
of them, the
right.
centaurs, are just watching us. They're probably shouting like, "We can see you. Come out."
bitch. Come
They're
on,
not coming
dude.
out. We should shoot them.
Yeah, just shoot them. This is a waste of time. I'm cold. Let's just get this over with.
Exactly.
That's right. You guys are right. I almost forgot about the hiding part, but yes, that was very funny. I believe this is also where we use. Did you use your divine favor here, Juno?
I did,
Yeah.
and it didn't matter because I still had disadvantage. But it was like maybe I could, but maybe, but
So-
maybe.
this
No,
this
no,
is a
no.
good time to illustrate the sort of mechanic built into divine favor that is different than inspiration and hero points, which is namely the fact that you are seeing a premonition of your future. So whatever
Right.
role you initially got, me as the GM, I will play it out and describe to you what bad thing happened because of your poor roll. And
Mhm.
then it's like you get to kind of go back to the beginning of your turn with the foreknowledge of what happens if you get that bad a roll.
Mhm.
So again, that's only something that you see and perceive, but your character does remember having seen. In this case, I believe you got shot with an arrow to the face. So it was like, oh,
Yeah,
don't hide there.
Kenopsia just like standing there for a minute, like, did I just see myself die? And then he just like slaps himself out of it. Like, I can't ruminate on that. I have to deal with this right now.
So yes, you're able to make your roll, and although the roll is still somewhat bad, you at least manage to hide in a way that won't get you killed, which is nice. Or
Yeah.
not hide in a way that won't get you killed.
Yeah, it's thought that counts. I think I had a good idea, but and then I remember my character stats, and then I'm like,
So we end up in a fight. However, it got started in there, and battle commences. We get to dive into our 5e mechanics, and I think this fight went really well. It was very brisk, and I had a good time playing through it. And as soon as this encounter is kind of resolved, I think my favorite aspect of it was kind of right at the very end, where Bran decides to grapple the centaur and wants to grapple their arms so that they can no longer attack, if I'm correct. And I remember being like, okay, Dusk, explain to me how you try to grapple this creature. Like, because that seems a little funky. And I'm going to pull it and add it in to the clip here so everybody can see it. But yes, Dusk drew a doodle of how to grapple a centaur.
It was fantastic.
I was having such a time trying to explain, like, I could see it clearly in my head, but I'm just like, and he does this thing, and the thing, yeah.
So
And it's just
needless
like,
to
You know
say,
how things do a thing, so just imagine that, right? Okay.
yeah, but like
Right?
gooder.
Okay. Yeah. but better and
Yes.
cooler. Okay.
So
Please. Please
fabulous.
let me win.
Fabulous illustration. I absolutely love it. And this ends up with Bran on the back of the centaur, essentially like riding and grappling the human part. And in a roll to determine the centaur's fate, he decides to flee after seeing his companions get killed, riding off screen basically with Bran on his back. And Bran had to jump off at the last minute to keep from getting carried away.
Fuck moment.
So a fun way to kind of wrap up the encounter there, but you were able to place a hunter's mark on him, which was going to track whether or not they would pursue you, that you'd be able to tell if they were gaining on you or if he returned with reinforcements. So with that knowledge in your guys' head, and the prince who suspiciously did not lend a hand during the entire fight.
Well, it wasn't so suspicious. He did try to run away, and Kenopsia and Rinverhi both yelled at him. I think that happened multiple times. Kenopsia and Rinverhi sternly talking to the scared man, like, you gotta chill out. You have to hang out with us. You will die. Otherwise.
You will die. Yeah. And it's just like, Kenopsia, like, he is a man and he of the people and he will help the people, but you need to relax, dude. And it's just,
gotta be cool,
just like gripping him, like, we are skilled adventurers. We know what we're doing. I need you to have faith in us as we are having faith in you right now, you motherfucker. And like Kenopsia is always going to put people first, but he's just like, if there is a small child and a grown-ass man, who do you think is going to just, out of who do you think is going to be the priority here?
Yeah, for sure. But definitely, this kind of leads us into a bit of our final encounter. But before we walk away from this scene, there was one other important element where you guys did discover that there was a lantern near an ancient ruin that looked like a signpost. Yeah. Go ahead, Endo. You want to tell us about the lantern and what you discovered?
Oh, so the lantern, it was the way people from Arcadia were basically bringing light into the forest, because you can't use flame. And that's when Rinverhi was already thinking about that, and I remember Rinverhi just shooting a fireball in a direction, and okay, or not fireball, firebolt. Firebolt. Important distinction. Yes.
Well, I love the fact here. This was such like a GM moment where you were like, hey, I cast this to see if the fire goes off. Nyx's fire earlier didn't go off. They're using a lantern that's not real fire. GM, is it safe to assume that there is no fire? And I'm like, you can make that assumption, but I don't really think you have any empirical evidence. There may be ways that you could suss this out. And I love that we kind of went back and forth on that for a minute. And then you were like, hey, Prince Maenalus, are you not able to use fire here? And he's like, most definitely not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, you told me you don't have enough evidence. You can assume that. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to make evidence. Firebolt. And then it's like, you can make that assumption. Okay. Hey, Prince, man who's clearly from here and knows what's going on. I'm not a scientist.
Yeah. That was so funny to me, dude. That I was like, you're trying to suss it out on your own. Literally, guy that lives here that you could just be like, hey, man. Like, so that was fun.
I wanted to figure it out myself, but yeah, it's like, okay, wait,
it's
yeah, you live here.
Yeah. I'm glad we got there, though. It's fun.
Yes. And we found one of their neat little lanterns, which the prince told us about because he's there and we could ask him questions.
Yes, exactly. That made that a lot easier. You guys are like, oh, hey, dude, what is this? You know?
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, it's a thing we have back in Arcadia. It's an alchemical fire that we make that can survive in the forest and da-da-da. And Bran, you should learn it.
Yeah.
Bran is, don't worry.
Yay!
It's a very important, useful alchemical thing. Hell
yes. Yes.
So with that being said, like I said, we lead into kind of our final encounter of the session, where you head into the next part of the Black Forest. And as you do, you guys discover that up ahead, on a small rock, looking kind of sad, is a small child.
Oh.
So what were y'all impressions of this small child?
A child.
I remember my first impression being, are they supposed to be blue?
Yes.
Maybe that's not one of their problems right now.
Maybe they are supposed to be blue.
My first thought was like, oh, is this like a child of a like humanoid that is not a human that might be pissed off if we take their child?
Yeah, like maybe they're just having a nap. Maybe they're fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what was Nyx's first thought of seeing kid in the middle of the snow like this?
She is suspicious of everything.
Yeah.
So
I love that about her.
I feel like
Same.
Nyx,
I relate to that.
Nyx is that GTA meme, like, oh shit, here we go again.
Here we go again. Yes.
Some more bullshit.
I also think about like I think about the Chloe meme with that little girl that's just looking at the camera
Yes.
like,
What
the hell?
Oh, Nyx, you put up with so much.
I know. So no maternal instincts kicking in for you to save the child.
Not yet, but I do think that she ends up, wanting to protect the child once the child is childlike.
Once, the child is awake and childing.
Yes.
Again, in true paladin fashion, Kenopsia rushes to the aid of the small child to go and check it out. And this is another bit of a little bit of kind of gamer tip for you guys out there. One thing that I mentioned earlier that I try to do as a GM is always incorporate moments in game that are reflective of a player's attributes. So again, creating the scenario for Prince Maenalus to be cuffed gives Nyx an opportunity to do some lockpicking and using that stuff. And this scenario is, again, designed now. Rinverhi gets an opportunity to use their healing. Here is someone who is hurt in case no one had gotten hurt in any of the previous encounters. Now you can heal somebody. So this I really love, that Juno runs up, as the paladin looks down, hey, knows I could lay on hands, but wants to know what the kid's condition is first, and turns to Rinverhi and says, hey, come over here and check on the child. Like you have the healing skill. You come and do that. And
Rinverhi was like on his heels. Like Kay was running over,
sure.
and so was Rinverhi. Yeah, and just Kay. I remember Kenopsia like helping Rinverhi up onto this rock where the child was, and was like, "Can you find out what's wrong with him?" And Rinverhi, gets to do his healer thing.
Yes, but it's the classic. Like so many people would jump on that rock and be like, "I want to roll the heal check." And it's like, you don't have any points in heal, man. Like, why are you even doing that? Like, this is designed for the other character, the other player. Like, call them over and let them do that. And there's more than one occasion that you guys do this throughout the session. And again, it's just a good lesson for other players and GMs out there to try to encourage that more. A lot of modern day TTRPG stuff gets balanced, that's the, in quotes, me saying that, balanced, where everyone's kind of good at everything. And the more it gets balanced, the more everyone's the same, dude. Like, people should have different skills and different things that they are good at, so that each person feels special and unique at certain times. So versatility is important, but also having a skill set and identity is oftentimes even more important, in my opinion. So I think
I completely agree.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a great lesson for other people to keep that in mind, that if you're not good at something, if your other party member is there, get them over there, get their attention, call them over, and work together as a team. Again, you guys, stellar team dynamic. Everyone gets together. It's like Rinverhi's doing the healing, Kenopsia is doing the lay on hands. We're like, Bran, figure out food. And Nyx is like, is that a kid? Ew. I don't have to touch it, do I? So again, everyone's kind of getting things together, and in a weird turn, the prince kind of steps up to be like, hey, what are you guys doing? Don't waste our resources on this child. Like, you see we have monsters chasing us. You see we're in this frozen wasteland. We don't know this kid. It looks practically dead anyways. Like, what are you guys doing? To which, at this point, wow, I have gotten a pretty visceral reaction from everyone, it seemed like. So what were your guys' thoughts on this?
Everybody disliked that.
Yes! Yes.
Just like flash it up on the screen. Everyone.
Yes. Yes.
Everyone just that point.
Sorry, what did you ask us, Chop?
Oh, just what were your thoughts about the prince in that moment, and like what did you think about what was going on with him?
I was thinking, like, he was scared.
Yeah.
Like, the position we were in was scary for someone who isn't a skilled adventurer, and in his eyes, he's been chased by these centaurs for who knows how long, and like had finally succumbed to his like running through this frozen forest earlier and almost died. So I understand he was really, really scared. And it wasn't like, fuck kids. I don't know this kid. It was,
right.
Yeah.
It's someone who's desperate and hungry and scared.
Yeah.
And, it totally makes sense why he was reacting that way. Yeah. But, Endo, you were saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But also it was like, we already asked him to just trust in us. We saved him. He was this kid earlier.
Right.
We helped his ass. So he just like needs to stop worrying. Just trust us. We know you're scared, but you're with us. You just watched us like kill 3 centaurs and sent one running.
Man, we're not gonna let you die yet. Come on.
And Bran has found multiple mushrooms for you to eat. It's okay. Like, trust us to manage our resources and fight off the monsters. And we can also take care of this kid who I have verified, this is Rinverhi, is not dead. So
you're like, but this shade of blue means he's super gonna be if we don't do something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My medicine check determined he is not supposed to be blue.
Yes. Yeah. There's also definitely the concern of the kind of scarring that he seems to have. That it seems like him living in the wilderness or whatever the case may be has had the worse for wear on him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been out here a long time, which is very concerning.
And you guys
bring him back to Arcadia with us.
Yeah, you guys scoop him up and take him along with you. It takes you a bit to realize, like he's hungry, like he's chewing at everything, trying to eat something. But you eventually do start giving him some food, which causes this altercation with the prince, which you guys do manage to settle down just in time for hoofbeats to arrive again. And Bran, then Rinverhi, Endo, I should say Endo, you're very quick to be like, dude, fucking Hunter's Mark, we should know that guy's coming, And I was like, no worries.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Quick.
But the you know, you guys took cover and hid, but the child kind of gets away from Kenopsia. It's like being squirrely and freaking out as it hears the hoofbeats and ends up running into Nyx and kind of like giving you that, like, you know, hug around the thigh kind of thing. At which point, when the hoofbeats sound for Nyx decides, you know what, I'm going to turn around, and you kind of make a gesture to keep the child behind you, to keep it safe. So essentially everyone else is kind of hiding and you're just like, fucking bring it, you know? And I was like, oh, that's so badass.
Mm-hmm.
So what were your thoughts in that moment, Cypher? What do you think was coming? What was going to happen in your mind?
I thought it was another centaur. You know, maybe one from the last encounter, or, you know, just I had a little bit of an inkling that it might be, you know, someone that the child would know, but I didn't know that. So, and Nyx didn't know that. So, you know, just, she very automatically, with no prompting, like, just stood her ground and just wanted to, you know, in that moment it was all about keeping the child safe. So yeah, so she didn't know what was coming up. She just knew that she was capable of making sure that the child, you know, was not harmed.
Well, yeah, that's very brave, and that the bravery and courage of that moment was not lost on the child itself, who was kind of like, holy cow, like everyone else just ducked off and hid, and this person's just like, bring it. And they were like, whoa, this person's kind of badass, you know? I do remember Rinverhi and Kenopsia being like, oh shit, like we got to make sure the prince is hiding. To which you guys are like, oh, that guy is fucking, he's in the wind somewhere. He's gone hiding already.
No, Bran took him and hid with him in a bush.
Oh, that's right. Yes. I know he was trying to get to cover quick, and you guys were like, stay with him. So you're right. I apologize, Bran.
No worries. But we know what the prince would have done.
Yes.
He would have been gone.
To some surprise, it turns out that what actually shows up on Hoofed Feet is a satyr who shows up out of the woods. So what was your guys' impression of a satyr jumping out?
Please be friendlier than your counterpart.
I know. I was a little worried that cool. He was gonna
just like, start beefing. You got beef,
exactly.
Bro?
Yeah, I was really gonna start beefing, but also I was like, hi.
Hey.
Hello there.
Hey, dude.
Exactly. And basically, you throw an NPC up on the screen, and I'm just like, hi.
Exactly.
I try not to be.
We're handshaking. It's like it takes all of my willpower to not start making like noise anytime there's like art on the screen, like a wooga wooga wooga.
Well, I'll tell you, this is me like growing up reading comics, that like I love those like ultra buff looking people all the time, you know. But you're heard. I'll try to throw some uggos in there, balance things out a bit.
Well, I mean, you don't have to try for our sake. You know, respect your art. If you want to keep throwing attractive people at us, I mean, who are we to stop you?
Yeah.
I mean,
I apologize in advance when we start actually hitting. No,
exactly.
Not gonna do that.
Well, I appreciate you guys offering to suffer through it. So
I know. We sacrifice a lot for this game.
Yeah. Things we do for you because we love you. Whatever.
So the satyr shows up and proceeds to tell you guys, hey, I'm out here. I'm looking for my child. And they look down and see the kid kind of peeking out around Nyx's leg, and drops to a knee and is like, oh my gosh, Anna says, come, you know, and the child is like trying to get away from Nyx, and rush to the satyr. So Nyx, what were your thoughts here? Were you thinking this person was legit? Were you thinking they were trying to steal this child away from you guys?
It either way, more than it was going to take more convincing for her, than saying the child's name, for Nyx to be like, this is with whom you belong. Go on. Like, it was more like Nyx was like, no.
Yeah, ask the child, like,
Yeah, you wait, who is that? Yeah. Yeah.
So
I like the extra precaution that Nyx took. Like, very smart. Yeah.
No, very wise. And again, smart. And ultimately, you check with the child, like, this person. And again, they're trying to rush to them, so there's genuinely some sort of affection happening here. At which point you release the child, and the satyr tells you guys, he thanks you, tells you his name is Salinas, and that he, can't believe that he had lost track of his child, and he feels terrible. But as outsiders, he kind of worries for you guys as well. He hasn't seen many people be nice like you guys. So he's a little bit concerned about you being out here, and he says, hey, you know what? It's my way of saying thanks. He throws you guys a pretty big wineskin, like a satyr fucking would. And
hell yeah.
Tells you guys, hey, this is real satyr shit. All right. Don't fuck around with that. But it'll keep you warm as you move your way through the rest of the Black Forest.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I just imagine in the outtakes version of this, the satyr okay, you be careful with that. That's real satyr shit. Rinverhi already.
Just good.
USA.
Yeah, exactly.
We're like, whatever, man.
That it's good.
It just falls straight over,
bad.
poof, right in the snow.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, not bad. Passes out.
So from there, you guys get to trudge through quite a bit of the Black Forest still. And as you do, thankfully, thanks to Salinas, you have some warmth inside of you. You notice that Prince Maenalus is keeping his pace. He's keeping moving. While the rest of you guys are kind of getting slowed down by the snow, it seems like he's clutching his cloak around himself and keeping warm and persevering. And seems to know where he's going, which is helpful.
Yeah. Didn't he also apologize for his for him being kind of an asshole about the whole kid situation?
He did. Yes. Yeah. He did.
Which was cool of him. Yeah.
Yeah. That he was like, hey, I'm sorry, man. I'm just really freaked out. I just escaped from being held captive. I don't want to take it. I just want to get home,
Totally get it. But again, trust us.
Yeah. You're like, dude, just chill, bro.
Just freaking chill out. We'll get you home. We want to get there too.
Speaking of which, as you guys trudge through the last bit of the Black Forest, as mysteriously as the cold weather and frost fell upon you, is it gone? As you guys round a corner into a beautiful sunset on the lavish ancient town of Arcadia.
Yay! It's so beautiful.
It's so pretty.
You are so beautiful.
Yeah, really a sight for Sora. It's really nice to get out of the frozen forest.
Yes, a nice, warm, welcoming looking place that's populated.
Yes.
There's people there that are walking around looking happy.
Yeah.
So this is where we cap off the adventure, your guys' arrival in Arcadia and the end of session 4, where we will pick up in session 5 in a few weeks. But final thoughts for the continuation of the adventure. What are you hoping to find in Arcadia? What are you guys fearing to find in Arcadia? What are your thoughts there?
I know what I'm fearing to find in Arcadia is like some kind of insidious plot harming the entire city, and then we have to make it our business because we're the good guys. And I know Rinverhi will want to do something about it, even though we already have our mission. We gotta get Grandma and get the fuck out of here, but he's gonna want to help.
So your fear is side quest. That's
yes.
Side quest.
I mean,
Side
like
quest.
I will like it, but just seriously, just like finding something deeply fucked up is happening here, and now we're making it our problem.
Right. It needs to be our problem because if I just sit with this on my conscience for the rest of my dream walking life, God forbid.
yeah. Because I know, like, if we do find a problem here, I like definitely half of the party looking at Rinverhi and Kenopsia are gonna be like, we have to help. and I know Nyx prefers to like not add to the list of problems, like just worry about herself and her own. And Bran, I feel like, is more on the fence. Am I right about that? Dusk?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Well, Dusk,
that's a good shot.
What is your impression of Arcadia? What are you hoping to find? What are you worried about finding?
I knew it was pretty spot on with the like, we're gonna find a side quest, aren't we? We're gonna make it our business because we're sweet, good men.
Okay, so that's kind of a general fear of like finding out that much like O'Dare, as nice as this place look, it's going to be like just fucked.
Yeah,
and
you bitches can't do anything for yourselves.
Yeah,
you're going to walk in and
specific.
Immediately a cop is like, "We need your help." You're like, "Fuck, man!
God damn it!" And now we have like 2 deputy badges. We get to collect them like we're Pokemon. On a Pokemon journey. Yeah.
The pristine police over here.
Pristine police, yeah. But like, yeah, not sincerely fearing, you know, that we're gonna end up in side quests because that's the adventure. But it's just like, yeah.
But that's the dread of like, ooh, I hope there's no crusty underbelly here that's gonna sneak up on us.
Yeah.
If you want a specific concern,
sure.
Lycanthropy.
Oh, okay.
It's been on my mind since like, oh yeah, the cops have like ornamental silver.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's very interesting. I know, like the ornamental cuffs, like I thought about it for a little bit while we were playing, but then I kind of forgot about it as the adventure went on. But it didn't seem like something the centaurs themselves would have carried. But but then there was the thought of like Maenalus for some reason had ornate handcuffs on him, and they were used on him.
You're like, what are you doing with these, man?
You know? I know, like what is your deal actually?
What is your deal actually?
Right. Yeah. But now Dusk brings up a really interesting worry of lycanthropy, and considering they were on the nose about the killer plushie. Like, these instincts are on point. So now I'm like, oh God, werewolf.
The prophet! They speak!
Yeah, we're going to find like a werewolf fighting pit or something.
Apollo is just like, Rinverhi, catch this dodgeball.
Oh no, man.
Bless you if you can catch this.
They're going to have you play Highlight. You're like, what?
What? I don't know the rules to that game.
Right?
Dude, that ball goes like 200 miles an hour. What is it made of? Limestone? You know, I don't want to play this.
No, I don't want to. I have a doctor's note. I have to sit out.
Yeah, I have a I don't. Yeah, I got a health slip. They said I don't have to
I'm the healer. That's
exactly. Listen, guys, I don't wear armor. I can't play this game. I have to sit over here.
They just give you a jersey. None of us wear armor. All right. Well, what about Cypher? Cypher, any thoughts here? I'm pegging Cypher as the one who's going to mention a hopeful something, right? Are you going to mention something you hope?
Probably not.
I'm sorry, you have a party full of pessimists.
The P in party stands for please be nice, we're scared.
You know, there is, you know, they haven't really had a moment to really rest. You know, it was very fleeting back at the camp. So I'd say that, you know, Nyx will be very intent on finding lodging of some kind, nice lodging. She'll make it happen.
Oh, yes, she will.
Yeah.
Well, see, now I thought for sure Nyx would be the one to be like, yeah, when we get there, I want my fucking king's ransom of fucking money for bringing Princey Boy home.
I was also thinking of a thing to hopeful. I hope the king is nice and doesn't think that we kidnapped his son. And I hope for some reason Maenalus isn't like, yeah, these people kidnapped me, imprisoned them.
They didn't even give me no food. They were trying to feed some kid.
Yeah. And it's just like betrayal for no reason. Yeah. You know what, Maenalus? I gave you a full wineskin. I let him have the whole thing. So that I hope that counts for something.
That's true. No, you guys were quite generous. It was very nice of you.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't like kick him or like call him names. We just told him, stop running.
Despite him very much giving you guys ample reason to kind of be shitty to him, you guys did kind of show like an outstanding amount of patience and compassion for this man. So.
Yeah. We were really good babysitters for him.
Yeah. Kay has a lot of compassion because he knows that, you know, if he were not an adventurer and if he were in this guy's shoes, he would, you know, he'd want to show some compassion. But also, he'd totally get it, you know, if people were going to start, you know, like spraying him with water, like, chill out, man. We're the adventurers, not you.
Just spritzing him like a cat. Like, calm down. Yeah. Get off the furniture.
Shaking that little soda can filled with tabs. You know, you're like, hey.
Yeah, exactly. Hey. Yeah. Relax, man.
Well, Kenopsia, Juno, any worries or concerns?
I'm afraid of. This is a very specific fear, but I'm afraid that someone is going to see that mark on my back and target me.
Oh,
that's a very good fear.
I just like look at a dream walker. Yeah. I can use him.
That's mine now.
yeah. And so it's not like I don't think Kay could not handle himself, but it's just like that is a very, it's just like no secondary locations.
Yes.
In one place with my people or else I will get snatched.
Yes. It's just link like arms at all times.
Yeah. It's daisy chain
or buddy system. Buddy system at the very least.
Buddy system.
Which is a good callback to the start of like going into the Black Forest where you guys you like yellow brick road it where you're like, everyone link arms, come on, Nyx. Yeah. And Nyx was like, get fucking real, guys, and just walk.
Yeah. Kay was just like, please, it would make me feel better. It would make me feel better if you did this. And she was like, fine. Which you very much appreciated. Thank you.
I know. Just the quintessential badass as always.
Yes.
Well, so
one more thing.
Sure.
I do have hopes of people might be able to tell us something about our deities or you know, just maybe fill us in on more like what fills out the dreamscape, because you know, is this tangible? Is this something real, or is this all another dream?
Exactly. Yeah, that's my worry / wonder as well. Like, what makes up Arcadia? Is Arcadia someone's nightmare? And are we gonna have to wake him up? And it
do
all goes
everything
away.
in this fucking tent. Yeah, this we do everything around here. God damn it.
Well, you guys will certainly have all of those questions answered, and maybe you'll get some more questions. Maybe some of those questions won't get answered. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I don't care.
we're going to find out.
I have
Care.
one more hope.
Oh,
of
yeah, go
something in Arcadia. Just like really good restaurants. I just,
Really good restaurant.
I want to find out what kind of food is in Arcadia. That's it.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. That's always my first thing when I'm planning my trip somewhere. I'm like, where can I eat when I get there?
Exactly. It's like, okay, we're finally Arcadia. Where's the best places to eat?
What are the regional delicacies here?
Yeah. What can we only experience in Arcadia? All
Well,
right, let's do that.
Hopefully that and more coming up in session 5 in just a few weeks for both this amazing party and for all you beautiful people out there. So thank you guys for sticking with us and checking out Tavern Talk with us here today. We hope everyone got some fun insight into how to put a campaign together and some fun insight into how we put our campaigns together. If you guys are enjoying the videos so far, please feel free to like and subscribe. Leave us a comment down below so we know that you're out there, and we were happy to say hello. If you'd like to listen to us in a podcast-only format, maybe at work or something like that, you can't watch the whole visuals, feel free to check us out anywhere where podcasts are being played, and you can find an audio-only version of it there. Links are in the description there. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and checking us out and playing along with us here. Go ahead and say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
It's Bizarro Juno. They
Okay.
say hello when they are leaving and goodbye when they show up.
All right. I mean, hey, what did I tell you? The bell does not dismiss you. I do. So I
That'll give you
think
notifications for when we next post.
yes.
Oh, there you go.
I have a doctor's note, so I can leave whenever I want.
Hey,
Oh,
so
okay.
it
This is
looks
where I
like
hang
you
up.
forged this.
But then my head will come
It
off.
looks like it looks like you forged this.
No, I'm a doctor.
So
You're like, yeah, I
So-
forged it. I forged it out of steel.
what's
Oh,
that?
that's illegal.
What's that? What's that?
Scatter!
All right,
Jump into the window.
everybody run. Get out of the bar.
Everyone get out!
All right, good night. Dream on, dreamers. Bye.
Run!